Indigo, what is the nicest thing a non-family member has ever done for you?
So the nicest thing a non-family member has ever done for me that just always jumps right to the top of my list when I hear this question goes back to December 18th, 1996, when I had a fateful collision with another car. I was driving along a very windy road along the Schuylkill River, parallel with the Schuylkill River in Philadelphia. And I was driving home after a night out with friends. I was 25 years old. We'd been out partying or something. And I definitely was not drunk driving at this time. That is one caveat that was one of the special things about this particular night, is that I was totally sober when this happened. And I was driving along the Schuylkill River, and I was with another friend, and she was my passenger. And as we were going along, we came to this part of the drive that was curved around to the right. And it was a blind curve where on the right-hand side was a stone wall that was about 5 stories high. And above that was the interstate, which ran parallel. And then to the left, we had the river. So this was a very narrow road, 2 lanes on going both directions. And so as I went around this curve, I was hugging the curve, and I noticed as I was coming around the curve that there was a car directly in front of me in my lane, like the closest lane to the stone wall, like they were hugging the curve, like as if they were in a video game or something. They were hugging my side of the yellow line. And when I noticed that, like immediately, like my adrenaline started rushing. And I knew that I had a very short time to make some very important decisions, like life or death decisions. So what happened was I saw this car coming toward me. I was like, okay, I need to avoid this car. If I can't curve to the right, because then I'm going to smash right into a stone wall going about 50 miles per hour. Can't curve to the left, because if I do that, I'm going to roll right on into this river. And so I had to make a choice, like doing all these quick calculations in my head. Physics equations were running through my head. And the softest place to hit, it turns out, was the edge of this other car. So I aimed, like using very elaborate physics equations, at a specific spot on that car, so that when I hit the car, I would it was almost like playing pool too. Like if I hit it right here, I'm going to bounce over here, and I won't bounce against the wall. I won't bounce into the river. So I did that. We hit. And as we hit, I remember this very spiritual moment where I started hearing some kind of benevolent beings talk to me. And they were saying, they basically were like, you're going to be okay, or you're going to be okay, or we're protecting you. So I really relaxed into this collision. And then I let the car land where it landed. And after it landed, there was sort of an after effect of the collision where the front of my car had been hit. The engine came in. The engine made the steering column come in. And the steering column came down and crashed on my knee. And my knee was like cracked like this, like poof. And then I looked down and I watched my leg flail underneath the seat, underneath my steering wheel. And at this point, I was in an altered state. We had landed. My passenger, I was afraid to turn and look at her. I knew that it was like the hardest, like 90-degree turn to look to see if she was okay. And she was okay. And I was okay, but I couldn't feel anything from my waist down. And so we were sitting there, and it seemed like just moments later that someone came up to my car window. I mean, this was like 2:30 in the morning. There was nobody on the road until we saw this car that hit us. There was nobody else behind him, and there was nobody else behind me. And this was the nicest thing that anybody ever did for me. This person, I believe it was a male person, came to my window. I rolled down the window. He said, "I have a cellular phone and I'm going to call 911 for you. And, you know, and you're going to be okay. They're going to send an ambulance right away." So that happened. And he's like, "But I can't stay. I've got to get going." And then this person just got into the car and drove away. And to this day, I don't even know if this was a real person or not. If it was a person, if it was an angel, if it was who knows what. But all I know is that some person came to our window, said, "I have a cellular phone. I'm going to call 911 for you." And at this time in 1996, the only people that had cellular phones were, you know, people that were very wealthy or doctors or drug dealers. Like, it was a very rare occurrence that, first of all, there would be somebody on the road that we hadn't even seen, who had seen the whole thing, and that they actually had a phone to call 911. So that is the nicest thing that anyone has ever done for me, that I always recall as like a very like moment of gratitude in my life, because before we knew it, the police had shown up, and just right after them, an ambulance came and helped me, you know, get out of the vehicle and start on my road to recovery, which I have, my orthopedic surgeon has told me that I have like 95% full recovery of my mobility of my knee and my leg. And, you know, if that person had not called when they did, I don't know how long we would have been there, and I don't know how it would have affected my recovery had it not been such a fast response. And now, you know, that whole experience led to, I am really where I am now, working at the Shift Network, largely due to that experience, which opened me up to a lot of metaphysical aspects of existence, and also started me on a path of yoga and devotion, which has been going on now for about 24 years. And yeah, so that's my story.